Welcome to Move Your Mind. My name's Nick Bracks, and this is a podcast where we have real conversations with real people and give real advice. Hey everyone, I'm really excited for you to listen to this discussion I had with Manu Feildel. We went really deep into his psychology. We talked about his failures, how he's overcome them, how he's dealt with ego, how he approaches life, and he got really vulnerable in this interview, and I personally took a huge amount out of it. I found it really moving at times and also really motivational. Manu's a chef, restaurateur and television presenter and has become one of the most popular personalities on Australian television as co-host of the successful My Kitchen Rules series on Channel 7. In 2019, Manu took on a new judging role in Australia's Got Talent. Manu is also currently taking on a new cooking show for Channel 7 called Plate of Origin. Manu, thank you so much for coming and having a chat to me on my podcast. I have not actually spoken to you, I think, for probably 7 or 8 years, which leads into the first question I had for you. Actually, do you remember how we first met, mate?
Yes, we met on a set of Dancing with the Stars in 2011.
Yeah, a little while ago, and which you won, and I was probably one of the worst dancers in the history of that show.
I mean, yeah, you had a great muscly body, but a very kind of stiff as well, I thought.
very rigid, yeah.
That's the problem when you've got muscles. Sometimes you can't move.
It was like this. It was sort of like no movement whatsoever. Where but you're like a relatively muscular guy as well. But you had you were very fluid. I was like always jealous of how well you moved.
I think I was there to have fun, a lot of fun. But I'm also very competitive, I suppose. So. Trying to bring the fun and the competition together, to kind of work together, I suppose.
Well, you did a good job. You won the bloody thing. So you did something well. So before we get into it, are you able to just a bit of a brief background, just on where you've come from, how you basically wound up where you are now?
Sure. It's going to take a lot longer than an hour, I suppose, but no.
Just a brief sort of background. Yeah.
In a nutshell, I'm born in France. Started my apprenticeship when I was 15 with my dad. Went to London when I was 18. I was in England for 8 years. By the age of 26, I decided to come to Australia. Still cooking. And about 4 or 5 years after that, I got a little gig on TV called Ready Steady Cook. And from that, I got the big gig on My Kitchen Rules and so on. So yeah, I've been here just over 20 years now. And I've been loving every minute of it. Yeah,
20 years, it's a long time. I'm sure it's probably gone quite fast for you, that period.
Yeah, it's gone fast, but it seems like I arrived yesterday, but it's also 20 years. It's a huge amount of time to shape a 26-year-old man to a 47-year-old man. So it's been fantastic.
It's unbelievable. And I was reading before, I already know a fair bit about what you've done, but I was reading through, the different TV shows you've been on, the different restaurants you've opened, the ventures you've been involved in. And you've crammed a huge amount in. It's, which I want to go into, more detail about soon. But before that, I was reading, and I think I remember hearing this, or maybe even when I was talking to you on Dancing with the Stars, but I read when you were 13, you decided to go and join the circus and go down that path, and you had come from a family of professional chefs. Was that a decision because you felt like you really needed to, understand what you really wanted before you decided on what path you would go down?
Yeah, cooking was never in my thoughts. Eating was in my thoughts. My whole family is in the game, so food was always part of entertaining, I suppose. We always thought about food and eating and drinking good wines and so on. But it wasn't in a sort of big joining the profession whatsoever. For me, I was a clown at school when I was a young kid, and I saw that it made people laugh. So I used to love entertaining my friends, and I used to love watching stand-up comedians. I used to love going to the circus, and I just turned around to my mom saying, you know, I'd love to you know, try the circus stuff. And there was a little circus school in the city where I lived, and I used to go there 3 days a week, like any kids would go to basketball or football or soccer. I was going to the circus.
Yeah, well, and so I guess, and then it's probably organically grown into the career that you've had because, like you're saying, you had that love of eating food. I guess you originally set out to have the career that you've had now and the success you've had, or was it more, I love doing this, you found that love for food and you just immersed yourself in it, and it, you know, led to where
it was more like I had to make a choice, basically, where at 15 years old, my teachers, you know, told my parents that it would be better if I kind of start this type of apprenticeship. That school wasn't really for me. I wasn't concentrating enough or listening to. I wasn't interested, basically. And my mom went, well, you know, what are we going to do with you? And obviously the circus, it's not something that happens just like that. You need to train for years before you're able to be looked at in a lot of ways. And my mom just said, my parents were divorced, and my dad owned a small restaurant. So mom said, listen, I'll send you to your dad, go and work there for a year, and we'll take it from there. And to be honest with you, from me not really enjoying school to enter the professional life as a young man, I just loved working straight away. And it's funny, I'm not sure if my dad was an electrician or if he had been a plumber or whatever job, I would have joined that kind of work. But just working for me was something that I enjoyed straight away. And because I love food as well, it just made a lot of sense. And I think I made the decision straight away, saying, that's it, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to be as good as I can and be the best as I can.
Yeah, so it was a good marriage. You loved working, you found something you loved in food and combined them. But I think it's a really good point what you're making as well. And, you know, something that probably in this day and age more than ever, where people that are aspiring to have a career like you, for example, would look up to you. And we often look at the end goal of, I want to get to that point, and not so much focusing on just the work and doing, you know, what's in front of us. How do I obtain all these different things? And if you have a goal where it's about the end outcome rather than just doing the work, we can fall by the wayside because it's not, you know, you'll get overwhelmed or you'll put unnecessary pressure on yourself. So I think it's such a good point what you're making, just, you know, wanting to actually work and not planning too much where that goes, just working hard.
Yeah, I suppose, as I said, I suppose I was lucky to be able to find love in that job straight away. So all I had to do is put my head down and learn. And, you know, after I worked with my dad for a year, I signed up for an apprenticeship in a fine dining restaurant. And that was the hardest 2 years of my life. I was 16 years old to the age of 18. I was doing 16 to 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. And it was kind of slavery, I suppose. And I was underpaid, but Nick, I just bloody loved it, you know. I just loved the fact that I'd found something that I could get my teeth into and enjoy and struggle through it. But also through the struggle, I could see the payoff. I was getting better on weekly basis, and you know, and I think that's the thing that we as human beings, we always seem to be clear on the negative, but not clear on the positive of things. and always look at what we haven't done instead of what we have achieved, you know. And to be honest with you, when I left to go to London, I couldn't speak a word of English. I only had £300 in my pocket. All I did was I had an interview and a job, and I did the same. I just head down, bum up, and worked my buttocks off, you know. And and it was tough because I couldn't speak the language and I didn't have any money to start with, and I was staying in bed seats and, you know, and all of that. I mean, you know, the apprenticeship of life after the apprenticeship of my job, you know, was very difficult. But again, it just makes you stronger. And I can remember going home on every night just crying out, you know, for help, because it was bloody hard. But I was lucky to have a job, and lucky to have a job that I loved, so that I could just kind of clean my head and just put my head into my job every day, you know. But as you get better, you get more recognized, and you get more responsibilities, and then the job becomes easier, and you make more friends, and so on. So it's, yeah, I mean, you know, as you know, as a young, I just lost you there.
Oh, there we go. We're back. We're back. Yeah.
As a young man or a young adult girl or boy, it's very difficult, especially with society and what they look, you know, what they want from you, and how you should look, and what you should think, and how you should think, and who's your mate should be, and so on. So it's very difficult. So for me, I was alone, and in some way it was good because I could just concentrate on me, myself, and I, and just get on with it.
Absolutely. No, and so many amazing points that you've made in there that I think can really relate to a lot of the things that we talk about on here, and that can help a lot of people. And like you're saying, you know, if you focused on the negative in that situation, you would have overwhelmed yourself. You would have thought, how on earth am I going to move countries when I don't speak the language, don't have money in the bank? You probably wouldn't have gone through it, but by just doing it and having that focus and being single-minded, obviously it's going to be hard, but that's where you actually learn, and you learn about who you are, and you learn character. And we all need to go through hardship to learn about what we want and who we are, and all these lessons. And the other thing I love that you're talking about is that I talk about a lot is falling in love with the process rather than the outcome, because we can't control very much in life. We can hope, we can aim for big things, we can, you know, hopefully they do work out, but we can't. And this whole coronavirus situation teaches us more than ever, we can only control so much. So fall in love with that process.
That's right. And you know, for me, I think you need to surround yourself with the right people. And I see it with my son. You know, last year he was hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I could see the, you know, being mischievous and so on. And we've had the conversation. I said, you know, who's your mates? And, you know, and he said, well, I'm not sure they are my mates yet. And da, da, da. I said, I miss my old mates from rugby. I said, well, what did you change? And the fact that he was changing school and so on. I said, and he didn't know how to make the swap. I said, you don't have to make a swap. You know, you can just retract yourself a little from there and join the next group and see how it fits better, you know. And this year is such a better kid because he's found his groove with his good mates that are really dedicated in sports and so on, and they've got a lot in common. And yeah, they're still 15 years old, so they're still they're fucking around a little bit, but you know, it's normal. At least he's hanging out with the right people.
Yeah, exactly. And it can take a bit of time, like you're saying. You know, it can be it's a bit of trial and error to find those people that we can fit into. But I think the key message there is not having to change your own personality or conform to to be cool or to fit into a group, to be comfortable enough in yourself. Again, like you said, when you moved to London, you were saying it was kind of good that you had to just completely focus on yourself and didn't have to try and pretend to be anyone, because it meant that you probably ended up finding all of the people that slot into your life and that group that you fit into.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I said to, again, I'm going to take my son as an example, because I was saying to him, I said, you don't have to be a clown or be someone else to please your mate. I said, you're good kids, you've got great manners, and your mates love you for who you are, not for who you're trying to be. And coming back to me as a kid, I was a clown because that's what I wanted to be, so no one forced me to be a clown. I just wanted to be it. And that's why you're right. Don't try to be someone else to please everyone. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's an act. You're hiding behind a mask, and you're not being yourself. So what's the point? I mean, I saw something on social media the other day that said, a message was saying, this is me, and if you don't like me, piss off, and I'm not going to change for anyone. And you shouldn't really. You shouldn't.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, please click the subscribe button, leave a like or comment, share with your friends, and follow me on Instagram at Nick Bracks. I really appreciate your ongoing support. That's how it needs to be. That's the message that should be sent out there. And I think I mean, you probably find this with your son as well, with it's a scary time to be growing up now in the sense of social media, mass media consumption. We're exposed to so much, and a lot of people, if they don't have the right, aren't taught how to think for themselves or how to make the right decisions, we can get caught up in thinking, I need to be X to try and impress all these people and make them, make me popular or fit in or wanted.
There's the positive and the negative of the positive is the older you get, the more you understand the game. But the negative of it is you have to suffer to learn the lessons, regardless if it's business, love, friendship, partnership, whatever it is. You will go down before you go up, and you need to go down before you go up, because you need to understand the negative to appreciate the positive. You need to see the dark to see the sunshine, and all of these are just lessons in life. You have to lose a game to know how to appreciate to win the game, and so on. And I always say to people, life is a bitch, regardless. It's a boxing match. It's many rounds. Sometimes you get punched down. You have to stand up and get up for the next round. And hopefully you're going to win at the end of the match. And that's the way it is. It's a roller coaster of opportunity, a roller coaster of craziness, but you've got to be able to be strong to stay on top. Because at the end of the day, what can happen to you? What's the worst that can happen to you? Is death. You're gone forever. But otherwise, what is it? Money, friendship, all of that you can fix. It's all something that you can fix. You don't necessarily need money to be happy. It helps, I'm sure, but happiness is not a number. Happiness is a feeling. It's how you feel in you. And making decisions, you can ask psychiatrists, you can ask your best friend, you can ask your parents to make decisions. Your decisions are here, in your chest. You know yourself if it feels right or wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
But you don't know that when you're 20 or when you're 30. You know that when you're 45, 40, 50, and that's why it's nice to be sharing this. This message between you and I.
It's so powerful what you're saying, And you know what, I often talk I do a lot of talks in mental health, and one of the key things I'll try and say, and, you know, I'm still learning myself and, you know, failing at lots of things, but I'll say, instead of reframing your mind how you look at failure, and don't look at failure as even calling it the word failure. I look at failure now, I'm like, when I fail, I learn. So if I'm going and doing a new, you know, pursuing something new, there's two outcomes that could happen. I'm either going to actually get the desired outcome I'm aiming for, or if I fail, I'm going to learn. So I'm going to either get the desired outcome or learn something from this. Either's positive.
Why did this business fail? Why did it fail? And then you find out why. And when you do another one, you make sure you tick those boxes.
Exactly.
I opened a restaurant with George Columbaris in Melbourne about 5 or 6 years ago. We spent a lot of money, fit out, beautiful. We invited 300 people at the launch, champagne flowing, very exciting, big restaurant, 150 seaters, 200 seaters. And 4 months later, we had a critic who came in and destroyed us. And because of that and other, I suppose, mistakes that we've done, the business just didn't turn around. Mm. And after 4 months, my business partners turned around to me and said, "We have to close." And I'm like, you're kidding me. I said, "Come on, we've only been open 4 months, so surely we can turn this around." He said, "You know, we've put a lot of money in, it doesn't look good, we're closing." And that was the worst time of my life. And as a grown-up man, I was destroyed. I was crying like a baby. I couldn't understand. My brain was in a cloud. And my business, my manager and I were together in this as well, and we were just like, and I went through depression for 5 months. My wife was pregnant at the time. She gave birth to my beautiful daughter. I was a dick of a dad. I wasn't there because I was in a bad place. I was in a dark place, and I was horrible. I was horrible to my wife. I was horrible to my child. And but then I also realized, and I don't know, something clicked, but I've had a lot of support from her. She was still hanging out, trying to help me, even though that was, you know, a bit of a dick. And my friends were there as well. And suddenly, just kind of the clouds started to disappear, and I just get on with it, you know. And I went back to do the next project, and just, you know. And that's what I said to you earlier on, because all I was looking is what I didn't get, what I felt at, instead of looking at everything else I had around me. I had a great TV career. I had a beautiful wife. I had 2 beautiful kids. I've got a beautiful house, and all of this just disappeared then. And it just suddenly cleared out and realized what I had instead of what I'd lost. And I did another business a couple of years ago, which again didn't last long. It lasted 12 months. But I got out clear-minded and cleared the debts in a year. And it was so much better relief, I suppose. And then I went back into another business straight away. My wife said, "What the heck are you doing?" I said, "No, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm fine. I'm good." I just needed to just get on with stuff, I suppose. And yeah, I think now my head's clearer, and I make decisions better, and I understand more business as well.
Yeah, you learn from it, but I think the bigger lesson, like, I mean, and the great point you're making is when these things happen, and I've had so many of these happen where I can think back a few years ago when I thought everything in my life was, you know, set on the trajectory it was going to go on. And within a 2-month period, I had this breakup, heart was broken, thought I was going to marry this girl, business fell apart that I thought was going to be my future. And I just crumbled, and it was because I had attached everything to that. But looking back now, I'm so grateful all of that fell apart, because it's led on this completely different path and, you know, opened up all these other doors. But I think the bigger lesson, like what you're saying there, is, yes, we're going to learn of how to be more successful in whatever it is we do later. But the biggest lesson is not being attached to, you know, the positives or the negatives. No matter how successful we become, even if you become a billionaire, if we're attached to the figure that I need to be, my self-worth is tied to me being a billionaire, you're going to think, okay, there's someone else out there that's richer than me. I need to make more money. I'm not happy. So it's about being ambitious, but also being okay with ourselves. And like you said before, reminding ourselves, what are we grateful for? What's good in our lives right now, rather than always needing more things to feel better about ourselves.
That's right. You're right. And at the moment, I don't know if you're aware, but I've got my source range in Woolworth.
Yes, I want to ask you about it.
I've been working on the project for 5 years, and it's finally on the shelf. It's been on the shelf for 8 months. And I feel, even though it's on the shelf, I feel like I'm on the roads and there's many traffic lights and I'm getting a red traffic light every time I get to the traffic light. It's red, but it doesn't stop me to just get on with the road. You know what I mean? Because it is frustrating. But unfortunately, this is the way it goes. If you've got to follow your dreams, regardless if it's nothing's easy, because if it was easy, we would all be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the reason it's hard is because it's hard for the people who just want to get on with it. And there's people that are leaders and people that are followers. And we need both of those type of people. You know, the soldier that digs the trenches, and then the captain that, you know, gives the orders. And that's the way life is. And, you know, you've just got to follow your dreams regardless the stops and starts. You know, if you believe in it, just get on with it. That's my belief.
You have to. You know, and like you said, it's if it was easy. And I think about this with, you know, I've been pursuing acting for 5 years, and basically, if you want to be an actor, you get rejected for a living. You go, you be vulnerable, put yourself out there. When I'm overseas, I'm auditioning 5-6 times a week. You don't hear anything unless it's a yes. So you got to keep reminding yourself, everyone would be doing this if it was easy. It's not easy for a reason. So are you willing to go and do what it takes to get there and just keep pushing? And it's a thing that, you know, I wanted to ask you about before, you know, just looking at everything you've done. You know, to me, as an outsider, it's just like, how the hell have you, you know, you've done so, even just on TV alone, there's so many different projects. You're, another thing I wanted to ask you about, you're a judge on Australia's Got Talent now. I mean, that's probably another whole new experience again for you. Like, as an outsider, it's like, how does this guy just keep going and going and going and going? And how do you, I guess one of my questions is, how do you manage when, I'm sure that in any given week, you've got lots of projects on the go, you got your TV commitments. How do you not get overwhelmed and stay focused and make sure you're doing the right things for it? 'Cause that's hard.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, very early on when I studied TV, I decided to have a PA who basically dealt with all my daily chores, I suppose. So I can only look at my phone, my calendar, and I know where I've got to be, when, how, why, and so on. So just having another person to kind of organize my life kind of frees a lot of, you know, my head, I suppose, and I can deal with my family and so on. But then this person became my business manager, because now I've got Manu's brand, I've got the sauce brand, I've got a warehouse which I'm building at the moment, which is a function room, and then I've now got another PA. So now you have to have a team. You can't just do it by yourself. So basically, it's not one man band. You know, I'm the singer, I need a drummer, I need a guitarist, I need vocals, and that's how it works. You have to surrender yourself with more talented people than who you are, So I don't have to deal with all the nitty gritty. So when I walk on set, that's what I've got to think of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's such an important lesson. It's something I learned in business. Early on, I was trying to do everything, and you can't do it. You need to team up. You need to recognize what's my talent, what do I excel in, how can I set up a situation where I can hyper focus on getting incredible at what I'm good at, and then have people that are amazing at all the other areas to look after those parts of it.
Yeah. Like my business manager, who used to be my PA, who's been with me 10 years, I call her the octopus. You know, she's got 3 brains, she's got 8 bloody arms, and she's able to do everything for me, which is absolutely amazing because she's so dedicated. And we best mates. You know, she knows me inside out. You know, she can even reply to Q&As for me without talking to me and so on.
Yeah.
So it is brilliant to have someone like this. And it's the same in every business. You know, you may have the idea and the concept, but there's so much more than the idea and the concept. There's this and that. And you have to employ those people that are really good at that to make it happen, because no one's good at everything.
No one's good at everything. And even if we were good at everything, there's only 24 hours in a day. No one can do everything. We can't do it. It's just not possible. I mean, you've talked a lot about this. It's another question I wanted to ask. How difficult, and I think you've sort of answered in a few of the things you've talked about, but how difficult is change? I mean, we all face change. I think in your life, you've moved overseas multiple times, you've started different businesses, your career, so many things. How hard do you find change?
I don't find change hard, to be honest with you. I find change exciting. But I suppose that change can be hard if it's been pushed on you, regardless of you making the decision. If you make this decision to change, it's an easy thing to do because that's what you want. If it's been pushed on you, that's why it becomes hard, because that's where you start getting lost and say, oh my God, what? And that's what happened with the restaurant in Melbourne with George. It got closed. So I was just like, what am I going to do? And the way it got closed it was personal to me, because I was criticized as a chef. I was criticized as a business owner. I was criticized as something I had worked all my life, being a chef. And I thought that I will never be able to ever open a restaurant again because of that stigma that was stuck to me. You know, and that was a big, long, 5 months to recover from it and discover myself again, saying, all right, I might not do a restaurant, but people bloody appreciate me on the screen. So why don't I concentrate on that? And I still got a foot in the door when it comes to food. So, you don't have to own a restaurant. Who says that you have to? So it's change can be hard if it's not your choices there.
I think it's a really important point you've made there for people listening to this, that, we can, in life, have a pretty set mind about where we want to go, but we're almost always going to have to pivot. So it's being clear on what the general goal is, but also being adaptable, that, okay, that might not work, but you know what, what's the other avenue I can quickly go down, or where can I take these same skill sets and apply them in a different realm, or whatever it is. Like, we can't be set on one specific way of doing it.
That's right. There's only thing that stops us really. It's ego.
Ego stops everything, doesn't it? Yeah.
Ego. And we constantly worry of what everybody else is going to think about us.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast and want to learn more, I've released my first book, Move Your Mind: How to Build a Healthy Mindset for Life, where I talk about my own journey with mental health and share tips from experts on how to maintain a healthy mindset. You can buy the book on Amazon or through my website at nickbracks.com/book. It's so hard. Like, what I find hard is I've gotten a lot better with it, but with ego, it's like, and similar to you, I'm very ambitious. I want to do things and I keep trying and pushing myself. And to compete, if you're competitive and you're competing in these industries full of egos, but you're trying to also keep that balance, how do you find that balance of, keeping the ego at bay while pushing?
Because you know what, Nick? You don't have to compete.
You don't have to
just
compete.
Be yourself, and do what you do well. And that I've always said this. An example: Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10. Why do they compete? They should be working together. They'll have better success.
Yeah.
It's having 3 restaurants on one street, one Italian, one French, one Chinese. All right. One close on Monday, one close on Tuesday, one close on Wednesday. Why? Because they're helping each other to keep the customers in. They don't close at the same time, so the street is always busy. Competition is the worst thing. Just be yourself and do what you do well.
I'm back in Victoria right now, and I've seen it even, we've gone into a lockdown 2 days ago, and I've heard so many people in Victoria saying it's not fair. Why, we've been played by the rules. It's not fair that we've been affected. Why haven't the other states been affected? And I'm thinking, hang on, this isn't a game. It's not a competition. It's like we're all trying to, everyone's doing their best. We're trying to deal with the situation. It's a crazy line of thinking. Who cares? Like, let's all just support each other.
It blows my mind. It's not that hard. It's, what I loved about COVID so far is we've slowed down. Everybody slow down. Everybody cues. Everybody talk to each other. Everybody respects each other. Everybody eats together at the table. We play board games like we haven't played board games. We start reading again. The planet looks better. There's blue skies in countries that have never been blue skies before. There's more fish in the ocean than there's ever been. There's no plastic bag floating anywhere. I think there's pros and cons. But I think the human race are just a silly bunch of people, racing for toilet paper, for fuck's sake. Come on, people.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Illogical. But it is. But what I love about everything you're saying here is you're always more looking towards the negative. Not the negative, the positive. What's positive? Like, if we do take that step back in coronavirus, there's a lot of positives. Obviously, there's some negative things, but there's a huge amount of positives. And I think the point is, in life, no matter what decision we make, there's going to be good and bad outcomes. So we've got to realize in society that there's no such thing as perfect. And it feeds back into this whole ego competitive thing. Like you're saying, you want to do something, just do it. Who cares what anyone else is doing? Do it because you enjoy it, you love it. It really doesn't matter what the outcome is. Just go and, do things for yourself.
Last year, what are we, end of 2018, I was weighing 107 kilos. I was like pretty big. Again, it was a mixture of working hard, not doing well in business, eating a bit too much, drinking a bit too much, not caring about myself enough. And I turned around to my wife and said, January 2019, that's it, I'm doing this. So I took a 12-week challenge, and I've never been a sport person. Physical stuff has never been me. Stopping food has never been me. Not drinking has never been me. But I did 12 weeks of that. Diet, 5 days a week at the gym, no booze. Lost 12 kilos in a space of 12 weeks. And I didn't do it for my image. I do it for my head. And I tell you what, Nick, it's been a year and a half, and I still do 5 days a week sport, and I still keep the weight down because it feels good in here.
Beautiful. I love that. And a huge part of the work I'm doing here, actually, and a thing where we're going to be releasing soon, is actually programs around that for your mind, fitness for your mind, because I train every day or 6 days a week, and for the exact same reason as you. I come from a competitive sporting background. That's why I started doing it. But nothing helps my mental health more than movement. And I think it's such a powerful thing. And I think that's such a great message you're saying. You're doing it not because you care. You're attaching it to how it's going to make you look. Makes you feel good.
It's at the end of the day, it's a bonus. You look good. That's the cherry on the cake. But
and a benefit.
Before you look good, it makes you feel good before you look good. Actually,
exactly.
If you're still not in shape, but you every day you come back from the gym or boxing or cycling, you come back and go, you get into that shower going, you start the day wicked,
Makes you feel amazing. It clears your head. It's just, I think it's incredible how much of a positive impact it has. And we need to, look at things from that level. It's like, and this is a funny thing, if you're attaching something, if you're looking at, I want to just get a six pack or something, but you're training purely for that reason, you're probably not going to stick to it, because and I've seen friends do this, they do it for 2 weeks. Oh, this is painful. There's not enough meaning attached to it. If I remove all of that meaning and say, I'm just going to exercise daily because it makes me feel so good, and that becomes part of what you do, the end outcome is you probably get the six pack anyway. So
that's
it's like, reversing how we look at these things.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm dreaming of the six pack, mate, but I don't know if it's gonna happen, because I care more about my food, because that's what makes me happy as well.
Well, food's amazing.
Because when I did my challenge last year, it did make me happy to do the training. It made me happy to see my body shape change, but then I also find an happiness in missing the food. So now I find a balance where I still go training, I enjoy my food. I'm never going to get a six pack, but I'm happy with that. I mean? Because I've got I find a balance between being able to have a glass of red wine every now and then, having the food that I want to eat, because we all have a different body types as well. I've got friends of mine who eat 3 times more than me, who have the six pack bastards.
Exactly.
But it is
everyone's different.
You got to find a way and to find a balance, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing that in the work I do, we're talking about all the time. It's about balance. It's not about doing everything perfectly. And it's like, I can't count how many diets there are out there, and they can be overwhelming. And a lot of people will go and try one of them, and they stick to it for a little bit, try a new thing. It's like, if you want to it's about creating, what can I do on a day-to-day basis that's manageable and enjoyable enough for me that I can stick to long term. If you hate doing it or it's painful, you're not going to stick to it.
And the word is enjoyable. And we always call those a diet, but they're not really a diet. They're a lifestyle, which means it's changing the lifestyle you used to have. So it's up to you to embrace that new lifestyle, or just bugger it. I can't deal with that lifestyle.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it is one or the other. But at the end of you've got to enjoy what you do. It's very important.
And it goes back to what you said before. Don't worry what other people are doing. Find what works for you. I know what works for me. What I do every day: exercise, meditate, do these different things that work for me in my routine, and I enjoy them. They might not work for someone else. Something else that I hate doing might work for someone else. And it's a question that I think you've, again, answered this question, but I was going to ask, what are your daily routines that you do that keep you feeling, grounded and feeling good? I guess you've said exercise is probably a big one now.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do an hour of boxing with a one-on-one coach. for an hour. So that's 3 hours a day. Oh, a week, sorry. On Tuesday morning, I do 35 Ks cycling with my neighbor. Sorry, mate.
Oh, there we go. We're back. Yep, all good.
So 35 Ks on Tuesdays. And last Sunday, I did 60 Ks on the bike as well. So I'm training for a triathlon in November. And again, that's one thing I do every year. I give myself a challenge. So I've done the Kokoda trail in Papua New Guinea. I've lost 12 kilos last year. I'm doing a triathlon this year. I want to do a boxing match next year. So every year I give myself one thing, ticking the box before I get too old, kind of thing.
You got a bit of time before you're too old, mate. I think you'll be fine. But no, I think that's good having that longer term, that thing for your mind to look forward to that you're working towards.
Yeah, and it gives you it gives you something to look for, and so you, I don't know, it kind of pushes you a little further, I suppose. If you just train for the fact of training is great, but if you train for something at the end of the year, it's even better, kind of thing. That's
absolutely, 100%. In the cooking industry, you hear about a lot of chefs either burning out, even suicide in that industry because of I'm guessing it's because, and from what I've learned about it, because it's so competitive, cutthroat, the hours are long, the pressure's huge. Is this something you've seen with a lot of chefs, and how do you navigate that in that industry?
Yeah, it's it's a very difficult subject to approach because I somewhat understand it,
mm-hmm.
but I also don't agree with it, and I don't
mm-hmm.
understand how low you can go to believe that you need to end your life, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's more financial than anything. Okay, so I believe,
mm-hmm.
but I just, it's a really hard concept to, as a human being, saying, I'm not worth living on this planet anymore because I failed at running a business,
mm-hmm.
or I'm not a good enough dad, I'm not a good enough husband, I'm not a good enough human being in general, and that is because of what society expects from you,
mm-hmm.
and I find it really hard to accept that people have to act that way, and in horrible ways as well, like far out. And I don't want to go into details, but it's a terrible thing, and the problem is restaurants are hard to run, yes, but those people have been running restaurants for a very long time, so it's always been that way. But it's just the margins are so small, it's not even worth running a restaurant anymore, because those people probably they put their house on to buy a business, and so basically they're taking away the roof over the top of their families, and so that's the pressure that those people are going through. But it's only fucking money. Just close, sell, walk away from it, rebuild yourself, rebuild a life. I know it's easier to say than done. I'm not saying it's easy, but I just want to scream at people saying, it's okay. It's okay. Just start again. Just buy yourself a one-bedroom flat with your 3 kids if you have to, and build again. I know.
It doesn't matter exactly. It doesn't matter how,
I split up with my first partner at the age of 35. And I thought, I had no money whatsoever. It was before the TV stuff, so I had no money. And I went to a bed sit, one bed, a small kitchenette, a small bathroom. At the age of 35, I was living like 20 years old. And I had to share my bed with my 4-year-old kids every weekend. And it was horrible, and you feel terrible, you know, but a year later, I was able to have a 2-bedroom flat. 2 years later, I was able to have a 4-bedroom house, you know, and you just gotta, you know, you go through horrible times. It's not the end of your life. It's a horrible moment, and you've got to go through it. What is it you need to fix? What is it you need to get on with? And I know there's obviously people who deal with it better than others, but I really wish I could help those people to get through it, because I find it hard to understand.
Yeah, really, well, you know, and hopefully this interview as well, I'm sure will, you know, help people that listen to it. And what you're saying there, you know, it's not just for the cooking restaurant industry. It applies to everything. And, you know, and it's so important right now with coronavirus that people, and I think it's just such beautiful examples that you keep giving from your own life, that people are feeling overwhelmed right now. They can't see a future. It's uncertain. But the thing we need to keep reminding ourselves is exactly what you're saying. Whatever pain we're going through, whatever difficulty it is, that's right now. It's not, nothing is forever. And life is always going to be up and down. So we've got to remember that and think, okay, yeah, it might be hard. Things might not be ideal. Remove your ego. Who cares? Everyone at different times has good and bad things happen. What can I actually do right now to just try and take the steps forward? And how do and just keep reminding myself what I'm grateful for, and what I need to do daily to try and get back to where I want to be. You know, it's like,
and you are the only one that can fix things. Don't expect help. You know, you can talk to people to empty your chest so you can liberate yourself of your anger and your frustrations. Yes, but those people are not going to help you. You can help yourself. You know,
100%.
Stop beating yourself up. Just get up, be strong, and take a piece of paper, take a pen, put the pros and cons, and try to eliminate the cons and start working on the pros. I know it's easier said than done. I know that, but frankly, there's only one person that can help you. It's you.
No, and you know what? Like, that's the thing with this. It's like, it's very hard to do, but it actually is logical and it's simple. We look at everything in, okay, what can I control? There might be a few things. Okay, I'm going to really focus on that. What can I not control? All these different areas. Okay, you know what? I can't control them. If I sit there and think about all these different things I can't control for 1 hour, 10 hours, 2 weeks, it's actually not going to change it. It's going to make me feel worse. Remove that, focus on what we can control. And it's practice. The more we can practice these things. And like you say, I love the points you're making about, and this is so true. We can't rely on anyone to do anything for us or to change our mind. It's about listening to our gut. You know, like you're saying, your gut often tells you what the best decision is.
Yeah.
Following that, I know for me, again, you know, things like, because I do these things that I love doing every day, just exercising, going for a walk, drinking a coffee, you know, when you are allowed to go to a cafe, I love just sitting in a cafe and having a coffee, seeing life around me. These are things that you don't actually, even if you don't have a lot of money or your life isn't where you want it to be, you can still do them every day. People can't take those away. Have things like that you can do. So that when things do, you know, go bad, it's like, well, you know what? I can still do these things that make me feel good every day. It empowers you. And we'll get sort of, been going for close to an hour, so I'll wind it up soon.
It's all right.
Don't want to take too much more of your time as well, but I think it sums up a lot of what you're talking about too. I was reading on your website where you're saying food is pleasure, live to eat. I think I'm saying it right. Live to eat. Don't just eat to live. And I think that's a beautiful quote, not just for eating, but for everything in life. And it really sums up a lot of, what you've spoken about today. It's so important.
Things for pleasure. Don't do things because you have to.
Yeah, exactly. Do it because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before, so your current projects at the moment, you've got Sauce by Manu.
Yes.
And that's out in stores
Yeah,
at
it's
the
in
moment?
Woolies.
Yep.
It's in Woolies, yeah.
Yep.
And that project started as just having a sauce on the market to help people to eat better and quicker and faster, and because I know that people always say, I don't have the time, which is, you've got time to do everything else but cook. But yeah, helping people to eat better, and there was no fresh sauce on the market that existed with real ingredients, no preservative, no additive, and no sugar. So I'm the first one that brought this in Australia, which I'm very proud of.
Amazing.
But unfortunately, it's also the only one in a category. So it's a brand new category, which is going to take a while to build. And I'm hoping to get some competition soon so we can build up that category. But I suppose mine will always be the best. But yeah, so making sure that people are putting the right food in their body as well, because this is, I think, and I'm not a doctor or professor of any kind, and I don't have the knowledge of all, but I do believe that if you put the right stuff in your body, you probably have a little bit of a better life. Because I suppose that if you look at a sauce, for example, that is on the shelf, not in the fridge, and it's got a date of 2 years on it, you've got to question yourself what it's made of and what you put in.
Oh, for sure. And with mental health in this area, food, what we eat, is directly linked with our mental well-being. And, it's our gut health that's been shown scientifically to link to how we cope mentally. Like you're saying, it's like thinking, well, I've bought this, brand new Mercedes, whatever car you've got, and you're putting, crappy fuel in it, or you're putting, I don't know what, like dirt in it to try and run it. It's not going to run so well, and you wouldn't do it. So people treat your body like you would with the car that you really care about. Put the right stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Well said.
And are there any other current projects?
I'm going to use that.
You can steal that one. Yeah, I've stolen it off someone else, so use it wherever. Is there any other current projects we can direct people to, and
yes,
we'll put links
I've got
where they can go?
A warehouse that I've bought a few years ago in Botany in Sydney, and it's a multifaceted business. It's a function center, but it's also built to do a filming in a kitchen. It's also got a commercial kitchen to run functions like weddings and brand launching and so on. I've been building for about a year now, and it's about 6 weeks away.
Amazing.
And I'm very excited for the project. My wife is running the business, so again, you've got to attach someone to that business, so you don't have to run the whole thing. It's called La Botanique, QUE at the end. And as I say, it's function center, filming studio, still photography for chefs and magazines and TV networks and so on. So it's pretty much everything I've done in my life under the same roof.
Under one roof. That's amazing, mate. That's so exciting. I think both of these projects sound like they're huge passion projects for you, and a lot's gone into them. So it's super exciting, and we'll put links in the show notes and direct people to these different ventures when this comes out as well. And just to finish up, we have a few sort of quick questions. We just one sort of line answer questions we finish every episode with. Before that, in summary, I mean, you've said so many amazing things that I know is going to help people. What would, just in summary, with all the uncertainty, coronavirus, everything happening in the world, what would you say to people out there that are struggling, that are, you know, finding it hard to find meaning in, you know, or and look forward to, you know, something in life? What would you say to them?
I think something that I don't have much of, but patience, and follow your dreams, even if it's going to take a little longer than you thought it was going to take. Just keep at it. Don't give up.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I've got these 5 questions I finish every episode with. Don't have to be long answers, whatever comes to mind. The first one is, what's your best childhood memory?
My best childhood memory is probably leaving school.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. What do you think currently in society today is the biggest burden on mental health?
I think is society, what people expect from you, and I think the word ego is probably something that we need to kind of regulate a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you see mental health in society in 10 years, in the sense of, do you see things in general getting better, things like ego and, you know, all these things we spoke about, the competitive nature? Do you see it improving or declining, or a bit of both?
I think there will be more awareness because there's people like you, Nick, that are getting the word out. So, and there's a lot of people like you that are doing so. I think the more we speak about it, and the more that we tell people that they can speak out as well, I think it probably won't disappear, I suppose, but hopefully there'll be more understanding and easier way to deal with it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. You know, it can never disappear, but it can become much more manageable for all of us.
Yes. Yeah. I think learning the right exercise to apply.
Yeah, 100%. 2 more here. What's your personal definition of happiness?
That's a hard one. Happiness is being satisfied, you know, satisfaction. And again, it can be at home with your family, at work, exercising. As long as you do what you want to do and you achieve what you want to achieve, it's satisfaction. It's pretty much it.
I love that answer. And it's really about being present, just enjoying what we're doing every moment, you know. So final one, what's the most courageous thing you've ever done? I'm sure that, well, I know there's a lot, but there's probably too many to list. What the one that comes to mind that...
I've done few, you're right, but what comes to mind because of you is Dancing with the Stars, mate. You know, do you know why? Because, and you're gonna agree with me, when you're on that stage before the music starts, and you have to stand there waiting for like 2 minutes or whatever when they show the background of what your wig's been like, it's frightening, isn't it? I mean, you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's terrifying. God, that was my first experience on television. I was so shy at the time, as you can probably remember, and was still coming out of my own shell. But I remember that feeling of, what the hell? I'm on TV. We've got an audience. It's live on television. Yeah. Where, and not only having to do a new dance, we've got to remember all these steps, stuff up 1 thing. It's crazy. It's crazy.
There's many times you would like, I just want to disappear. You know?
Yeah. Absolutely. But you know what? I feel like I learned so much from that, because I use that in my head even to this day. When I've done something new that's really daunting, I think, hang on, I remember what I went through on that show.
That's
and
right.
think, I got through that, I can get through this. So it's like, yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I think my first year of my kitchen rules was the toughest as well.
Yeah.
I had a ball in my stomach every single day for 3 months.
Wow.
I was worried about the script. I was worried about people watching me. I was worried about the cameras. Like, it was bloody scary.
I can imagine. It's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. And like we said, there's probably about 50 different things we could list here that are courageous that you've done, but good examples there. And Manu, it means a huge amount to me having you come on here. I know you're going to help so many people through this conversation. You've actually really inspired me just having this talk, and it's made me excited about even some of the things I'm doing, because you've reminded me about a lot of, positive things we have. So thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot.
Thank you for thinking of me, and thank you for inviting me. And it's been nice to catch up with you after all those years, and maybe next time we'll have a beer.
Thanks so much, mate. Thank you.
Mate. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks to Manu Feildel for joining me today for Move Your Mind. Also, a huge thank you to those of you listening. I really appreciate your support. If you'd like to learn more or connect with me personally, visit www.nickbracks.com or send me a DM on Instagram at Nick Bracks. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button, leave a like or comment, share with your friends, and follow me on Instagram. It really makes a difference. Thank you so much.